Alright, so we're getting really close to finishing up everything that I need to finish up on the E36 M3 before it heads to the track at the end of next month. But of the things that I do have left, I have to rebuild this axle. But before we do that, let's actually rewind a little bit and show you how we got here in the first place. Here we go. So, I've been spending the last year and a half getting my E36 M3 prepped for its very first track day. And in doing so, I've repaired, replaced, and rejuvenated countless parts on this car. Now, some of the projects have been quick and simple, and some have been very difficult and very time consuming. And one of, if not the most difficult and time consuming jobs I've done so far in this car was prepping and welding in R-tab reinforcement plates. Now, between the entry-level fabrication work and the endless grinding to try and make it look halfway presentable, I also managed to install brand new monoball bushings in place of almost all of the old and worn OEM rubber bushings on the rear end. However, it was all of this work that ultimately led to the reason why I'm making today's episode. While I was prepping the R-tab pockets and replacing some of the rear end bushings, I realized part of the way through that project that my driver's side outer axle boot had torn apart due to the additional stress from hanging the trailing arm for as long as I did, and had ultimately started slinging grease pretty much anywhere in its vicinity. Now, initially, this wasn't a huge concern of mine. I figured I'd just buy some aftermarket replacement axles, swap them in, and call it a problem solved. However, in an attempt to be diligent, I did spend some time researching what, if any, were the best aftermarket axles I could buy, only to discover that the OEM axles that I already had in my car were the apparently better, thicker, hollow chromoly axles, which none of the aftermarket options were. So after learning that, and with a bit more research, I came to the conclusion that if there was any way I could salvage the axle I currently have in the car, that it would ultimately be the best option. And that's what led us here. After purchasing some replacement boots, clamps, and grease, all that was left was to remove the axle and rebuild it. Now, what isn't being shown is that between this clip here and this clip here was two separate Harbor Freight trips, about $100 in tools bought, over 2 hours of time spent, and a 0% success rate of trying to remove this axle from the hub. So what you're seeing now is the aftermath of realizing that the only way to actually get this axle out of the hub was to take the entire trailing arm assembly back out from the car so I could take it to my work and use the hydraulic press to hopefully remove the axle once and for all. So, after figuring out how to set up the entire trailing arm on the press, and then with a little bit of persuasion from my air hammer, I was finally able to get the axle to break loose. Now, originally, going into this project, the plan wasn't to replace my wheel bearing and hub, as there was nothing really wrong with them. But after what felt like half a day's worth of beating on the axle and vibrating the trailing arm knuckle to get the axle out, I figured it'd make more sense to replace everything while it's apart than to risk using old parts and potentially have a failure while out on track. So that's the route I decided to go. Not only am I rebuilding the axle, but I'll be replacing the wheel bearing and hub. Now, before I left my work, I did have one last project that I needed to finish. Since I installed the Style 24 wheels probably close to a year ago or so, I've been driving the E36 around with a mixed set of used tires. The reason being was because I knew when time came to actually go to the track that I would buy a brand new set of tires to use specifically while I'm out there. And I didn't want to prematurely wear out those tires by driving on them until then. So now that I'm officially headed to the track and seeing how it's coming up soon, I figured there was no better time to install the new set of Accelera 651 Sports onto the Style 24s and swap the old tires I've been driving on onto a spare set of DS2s I picked up a few months back. So now this way I can drive the DS2s on the used set of tires to the track, then when I get there, swap on the Style 24s with the fresh tires and know that they're ready to go and won't have any premature wear from driving the E36 around with them on. So with that checked off the list, it was finally time to head back home to reinstall the trailing arm and finally get to the actual reason for this episode, rebuilding the axle. Now, for those of you not in the know, 9 times out of 10, you can rebuild an axle. And I know, that sounds pretty daunting, but all it really means is simply replacing the boots, the clamps, and the grease. And in some cases, if they're available, the CV joint itself. Basically all the parts that make up an axle minus the shaft. Now, not only that, but comparing the cost of buying a new axle over the cost to rebuild an axle, not taking into account the time it will take to rebuild versus simply replacing the entire part, which is only really an hour or two, it ends up being a fraction of the cost. For example, had I wanted to purchase an OEM E36 axle, it'd run me close to $900 once shipping and taxes were taken into account, versus the $70-ish I actually spent on the parts to simply rebuild it. Now, you can opt for an aftermarket replacement axle assembly. I've seen them for as cheap as about $160, but remember, in my situation, I have the thicker hollow chromoly axles, which I believe came on the 96 and up model year cars. But I bring that up to say that while I was researching axles and before ultimately deciding to rebuild mine, I found out that no one makes my specific axle anymore, OEM or aftermarket. Only the thinner solid axles are available. And so the only option I had if I wanted to retain the claimed better axle design was to rebuild it. And so that's what I'm doing here. Now, going into this episode, I originally planned to do a walkthrough style video, but seeing how there's already really good videos available that go much further in depth than I do regarding rebuilding axles, what I'll do instead is focus on a couple of areas that I don't think get talked about very much, or issues that I ran into so you can avoid the same problems I had. First is regarding this piece right here. When you start taking apart your axle, usually you start on the end that mates to the differential. And as you saw, once you get the outer cover off and clean some of the old grease, you'll have access to remove the C-clip that holds the CV joint onto the shaft itself. However, in the videos I watched, for whatever reason, no one seems to mention or even show this piece here. Now, I suppose it's possible that it may only be on the thicker hollow axles like mine, but in case it's on others and you happen to be watching this, it's worth noting that there is an orientation to it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a good clip showing it, but this part is tapered, meaning the inner diameter is conical. This is important because if you install this incorrectly, you may not be able to reinstall the CV joint correctly to allow for the C-clip to be installed. So, to install it correctly, the orientation is to install the part with the tapered side facing the retaining clip, and the non-tapered end sits against the inner CV joint race. And just to really illustrate the point, here's a really crude picture to show what I mean. The last word of advice that I didn't see many people reference was regarding the installation of the ball bearings, the cage, and the inner and outer CV joint races. Now, I had to find out the hard way by fully rebuilding the axle and attempting to reinstall it back into the E36, only to realize that the inner CV joint, the one that attaches to the differential flange, didn't articulate at all. It felt like it was binding or stuck, and so I wasn't able to line up the holes with the differential flange to be able to install the bolts. What I ended up finding out, thanks to a Volkswagen forum post of all places, is that the inner CV joint race and the outer one need to be in phase. And all that really means is it needs to be installed correctly to allow for the proper articulation to be able to occur. Otherwise, you end up with my situation, in which it wouldn't move at all once you put it all back together. So all you need to do to properly phase the inner and outer races is to make sure that the longer sections of the inner race aligns with the shorter sections of the outer race. And just for reference, you can see here, which is the first time I was putting this back together, that I unknowingly installed the races out of phase. Or in simpler terms, the short sections of the inner race lined up with the short sections of the outer race. Versus here, which is after I realized what I had done and proceeded to have to remove the inner race and cage again to properly phase it. You can see I have now correctly phased the inner and outer races. Again, you can see that I have the shorter sections of the inner race aligned with the longer sections of the outer race. So with the axle now correctly rebuilt, I was able to reinstall it, along with reattaching everything back onto the trailing arm, and with that, the M3 is that much closer to hitting the track in just a few more weeks. Now, if you made it this far into the episode, I just want to take a second and say thank you. It's everyone watching that keeps me wanting to make these episodes, so if you've spent any time at all watching these, I just want to show my gratitude and say a huge thank you to all of you. The M3 is so close to hitting the track for the first time, and I'm hoping that everyone who's watched some of these episodes leading up to the big day is as stoked as I am. I can't wait to get the car out and see what it can do, and I can't wait to show all of you how that goes. But we're still a few weeks out, and there's still a few things I have to check off the list, so if you don't want to miss those episodes, or simply want to tune in for the track day episode, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that. And until then, thank you all again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.